How's it going, everybody? DJ K DuB Omaha, Wired Access Podcast with the All Access Granted.
I didn't want that to be the standard. I didn't want someone else in the room to set the standard. I always wanted to do that.
The journey to get there, I think, is something, that is amazing.
Let's get this podcast started.
That's right. Welcome to Wired Access, All Access Granted. I'm your host, DJ K DuB Omaha. We greatly appreciate all you joining us tonight or any night. As this is the last show at my old house, we get a new house next week. So we'll have a permanent background, as right now I just got some drapes behind me trying to take the room. But today we have Missouri Tiger committed Omaha Westside 2027 quarterback, Braylen Warren. Braylen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Man, you had a great things accomplished in your 2026 season, but I know that you're loading up and getting ready for a stronger 2027. Obviously, with Westside, you guys are looking to put yourself back in a championship game, as you guys were to the previous 3 before last. And you're looking to be that guy to do it with your team. You know, when we think of football and we think of, Braylen Warren, and we think of everything that your history is, of course, everybody in Nebraska knows your dad. We know he's, got Warren Academy going. And we were blessed last week to share Nate Glance's story. And of course, you grew up from watching Nate as a young athlete, and you're around some of the greatest athletes with the program that your dad has started, and you're getting opportunity to compete with those athletes. And it just brings the camaraderie of possibilities when you surround yourself with that type of atmosphere. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people want to talk their own game. And that's why I love the platform that we have here, because it allows the athlete to be the one to tell their story, just as Nate did last week when he said he almost hung up cleats and then he's preparing for a pro day. Look at that. Yeah. 7 years later, and Braylen, if you think back to 7 years ago, I mean, you're in middle school. I mean, you're in 6th grade, 7th grade, what do you remember back then for yourself when it came to football and the start of what is Warren Academy today, of where that kind of has you growing?
I mean, well, I was like 10. So I just remember being around like my dad and all like the athletes and that he was training, and like that was playing like 7-on-7, and that he was coaching, and just like really growing up and like wanting to be them, like wanting to go out on the field and like be a leader and like just do what they do on the field. And just kind of like be successful and like really be out there with my teammates, have fun, and just like enjoy life basically.
So, of course, for someone like yourself, the first question that many probably have asked before, why quarterback over a defensive position or a different offensive position? How did you find yourself at quarterback?
I always just wanted to be like the leader of the team, like having the ball in my hands every play. And just like really when I was growing up, I was always a different position. Like I played like all positions. We didn't know that I was gonna be a quarterback to like middle school or whatever. That's why I always played a different position, because I was a little bit bigger and whatnot. But like growing up, I just stuck with quarterback because I felt like I was the most talented, and like my dad thought that too at that position. And I like being at that position because the ball was always in my hands, and like I could always pick up my team when they needed it and whatnot. So yeah.
So that leads back to, of course, the biggest thing of this episode is the leadership on and off the field. You, of course, seen other quarterbacks lead the way. Who's some of those that you remember kind of reflecting yourself on at an early age? Because I think as soon as you get around more of those type of athletes at a younger age, it just brings that energy to yourself. Who were some of those early ones for you?
When I was a freshman, Anthony Rizek, he was a big leadership guy. Like he wasn't the most talented and whatnot, but he was a big leader. The whole team trusted him. The whole team loved him. And that kind of like really showed me like the ropes of how to be a quarterback, and how to like, it's more than just being able to throw the ball. Like it's about being able to pick up your team. It's about doing the right thing and whatnot. So Anthony Rizek was probably my biggest follow his footsteps.
Of course, people might even ask, you brought up a former Westside quarterback. What was your draw to Westside? How did that come to you for you being the place that you wanted to go to high school for?
I knew I would have a good opportunity being able to like start as a sophomore. They didn't really have any other quarterbacks there, and the coaching, like Coach Lamanji, I've always like my dad liked him growing up, and I love Coach Lamanji. Like he's a great guy and a great coach, and that's someone that I wanted to play for. Like always being like tough. He reps effort and toughness like on his chest. So that's always the type of guy that I want to be around, and he knows how to be a leader, and so I just want to be like him more.
And of course, people might go, okay, so if you knew a position was possibly just going to be ready for you, how come you didn't go to where possibly a challenge was there for you? Was there a reason or a thought behind that? Of course, you already talked about Coach Lamaji being a key factor. And I think sometimes people forget about how important a coach is. But did you ever think that you could possibly go somewhere else and be that guy to change a program or do something of that when you were early in your quarterback years?
What do you mean? Like, do
Like,
I?
did you ever think you could go to, let's just say, a Burke and get them back on the map and be the quarterback and be the one to lead the way for
Yeah,
yourself?
I bet I like would be able to, but I always just want to go somewhere where I know like that has talent around me and just like would always be in that position to win. Like going into Westside, they were always like winners. Like I want to be a winner. And so like being with the coaching staff that knows how to win was also a big thing for me.
As far as your multi-sport athlete, when did all that change for you? What all sports did you play growing up? And when did you finally make the decision that it's going to be football or nothing?
Um, I always played basketball and football, so like really nothing else. I played soccer maybe when I was like 8 years old, but stopped that. But yeah, I stopped playing basketball my freshman year, and now I just like go play pickup with the guys. And like every day I have like training after school for like speed work and all that. So I didn't never really had to do like track. Um, but yeah, now it's just like really football and training every day.
And when you think of that freshman year, what made you make that decision to make that bump to get rid of a sport like basketball? Of course, there's a lot of different things that your body could go through during a game of basketball. But on the flip side, it kind of goes both ways, right? Like if your goal is to get to the NBA, if you stay with football, you could possibly get injured. Same thing
Yeah.
could happen for basketball. What was that like for you, and what made you decide football was all that you wanted to do?
Yeah, the wear and tear is probably like the big part on basketball, just like having to go from football workouts in the morning to practice after school and then another practice like after basketball practice. And so like the wear and tear was a big part of that. And like even like playing pickup, I only play like every so often just because the risk of getting hurt and all that. Just have to be safe. So yeah, that was when I stopped.
Of course, you go into your freshman year, you have a great leadership in front of you there with Anthony and them. What's some of the early things that you remember attaching on that you were able to? Because did you play freshman ball for Westside, or did you just start playing at reserve or JV right away?
Yeah, I played a JV right away. Yeah, I split reps on JV actually my freshman year. Just like getting to know the system and all that and the plays. So like I really just split reps and got down the system.
Of course, you talked about talent. Was there any players that followed or also had that same decision and desire that went with you that you might have played in middle school with or played on any other team with prior to Westside?
I grew up with Bryson Williams. So like when I was a sophomore, he was going to be a junior. And I really wanted him to be at Westside because I thought it would be a better fit. And he ultimately went to Westside, and I think that was probably one of his best decisions in high school that he could have made, just because I felt like it was a great fit for him, and just like being able to grow up with him and play with him side by side it's just like an amazing experience to have.
Of course, when you see what's going on there at Westside, you guys are competing, you see championships coming. You get your first taste down there in Lincoln 2 years ago. What do you remember about that day of stepping in the stadium that that that's where dad played, that's where, the heart of the Warren family started when it came to football. What was that like for you to step into that stadium?
It was awesome. Like, it was really cool just being in that stadium. Like, as soon as you get on the field, you don't really like notice how like big it is until you're actually on the field. And like when you start playing, like it kind of goes all the way, but you can always like hear the fans when you're on the sideline and everything. So it's just like it's so loud in there too that you can't you can't even like really think. But it's kind of like your eyes go big. Like, it's just like you're looking around and all that, but like you'll get settled in and you'll just have fun at that point.
What was kind of some of the things that you were being told, or how did you find your settlement, and how did you start to find your way? Because I remember being there, and I remember seeing you, give everything you had on that field. You left no one to question whether you were going to be the guy to try to lead your team to a win, and especially with everything going on with Coach Lamaji that year.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate what happened to him at like the end of the year, just having to like go through that surgery and all that. But like from the beginning of the year to the end, I really had to like settle in from like week 4 to like week 1 to like week 4 or 5. It was kind of just like being able to start at that varsity level is a lot different than what JV was. And so like every game, I felt like I settled in more and more and played better every game. So like going to Memorial Stadium and playing that last game without Coach Lamanji, it was hard without him. But we all fought for him and all that. Came up short at the end, which sucks. But I thought I settled in pretty well, and I think I did leave everything on the field that I could.
Of course, you guys had DB take over the reins that day. And what do you remember about your team's message between pregame, halftime, and postgame that might stick with you as you continue your journey with Westside?
We were always talking about during the game and like before the game, we'd always talk about doing it for Coach Lamanji because like it was that week um, that we were at Memorial that he had to go in the hospital. He just left practice and had to go. But and then like that really showed us like it's really a brotherhood and a culture at Westside. And so like it showed us that you do it for the people around you because they'll always be there if you needed them.
When you look at what happened that year, of course, you start working this next year. What did 7-on-7 help you grow these past couple years that you've been able to maybe find your in pocket presence and stuff like that? How has 7-on-7 helped you that maybe some people don't take advantage of?
As a quarterback, I think it helps a lot. Just being able to see the coverages and like seeing a one high safety compared to the two high to like a open field to close. Um, and just like disguising coverages. I think it helps a lot with like being able to process like the coverages and like seeing what would be open on different concepts and like how to beat coverages. So as a quarterback, I think it helps a lot. I know it's not real football, obviously, because there's no tackle and everything, but the coverages helps a lot for a quarterback.
I think that, and what people don't know, there is a timer. How many seconds do you have from when you call hike and snap?
4. We have 4 seconds.
So just know that it's not only helping him, as he just said, with coverages, it's helping him keep a quick timer in his pocket that he knows he has to get rid of the ball and make sure things happen. Now, Braylen, of course, you spent your life in Warren Academy, learn, some things from your father, but of course, the coaches around your dad. What are some of those coaches that have helped you, really kind of share the message of what Warren Academy is besides the legacy of your name in that academy? What have they kind of done to help you and also help other kids understand that you're still a part of the system? Part of it is this is something you're learning from and growing from. It's not like, oh, it's his dad's thing. He doesn't have to do anything. You're still growing and showing throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, John Tiglin's a big one, big name. For me growing up, he was always my quarterback trainer and everything. I work with him like almost every day, but he's been a part of Warren Academy for a long time. And so like being in his groups and him like being a part of Warren Academy, a lot of the kids that go to his groups are also a part of Warren Academy. So it's just like kind of I'm doing whatever like the other kids are doing. Not really any like favoritism and everything. I still got to work for a spot and all that. Um, but yeah, John Tiglin's like a big one. Like Mike Evans is not Mike Evans. Mike is a big one for me. He's my 7-on-7 coach. He kind of like
Mr.
breaks down
Jones.
defenses. Yeah, Mike Jones. Yeah,
I used to coach with him at Omaha South. Me and him go way back. I
yeah.
actually got a DJ his wedding, and watching Mason do what he does, and seeing, just the love that guy pours out for football. Of course, your dad was known for disrupting pockets and as a defensive tackle. And was there anything that he's kind of taught you about reading even the defense, maybe their hand fights, their techniques, so then you can know when that pocket might collapse or when pressure might get to you? Is there anything from the defensive side that your dad might have helped you with to keep your eyes on?
Defensive fronts. He's talked about defensive fronts like briefly. He hasn't really like taught me about defensive fronts that much or anything, but whenever I'm like breaking down film or whatever, he'll my dad will talk to me about like what he sees from the corner and like what's his tendencies and the safety and all that. But like compared to the line, he'll tell me about like defensive fronts and techniques and like what they might run in this tech.
That's awesome. And Jack Tiedemann, just I appreciate you tuning in from Australia. And we will for sure get to some of those questions. Of course, we're working our time up. You're wanting some things over this last year. We're kind of talking his 10th grade, his sophomore year and his growth through that. But I promise you those questions will get asked as well. So I appreciate you tuning in, and don't want to lose you out there. But when you think of, what you have done and in the process, what was the biggest thing between sophomore year and junior year that you knew you had to change or do better for yourself?
Just kind of getting like my reads down and like being able to process defenses, and that's what 7-on-7 helped a lot with, is being able to process defenses. And for my sophomore and junior year, I thought I got a lot better in the film room and being able to like process defenses and tendencies.
Now, of course, you're around other quarterbacks, D1 quarterbacks, especially with the academy. What's some of the things that maybe you guys might feed off of each other and maybe give some feedback when you guys are doing these practices, that you really take it as an upper hand in that 1% to help you get better even on that 7-on-7?
We're always being like competitive, like with like some of the guys, even when it's like a defensive session, we'll like have like games where it's just like try to target or whatever. So it's just like always being competitive and like keeping each other on our toes is a big thing.
Of course, this last year, you guys fell just short of getting back to the championship. What was the biggest change in this last year's team that you guys had to learn different than the previous years for yourself?
We had a lot of long time like starters gone. Not a lot, but like Christian Jones, he was gone. Keenan was gone, but we had a lot of guys that stepped up and from like juniors to seniors, a lot of leadership. And so like it sucks that we came short and we did lose like more games than we usually do. But I think it was just like more of a thing that we weren't more energetic that we could have been, and didn't come out as hard as we could have as we should have. Um, that's really about it.
And for yourself, this is a question that Jack did ask, and we'll throw it up here. But what's the best lesson that you learned from this season?
To always like stay composed and also to come out with energy, because like it's hard when as a team and as like a player, if you don't come out with energy, like you can't really like get started as a team. Like we'll be behind by halftime, and it's just like you can't really like have that and come back. It's like it's really hard to.
You look at this last season and you look at the growth. Where do you think you guys grew by the end of the season as a team, and where as an individual do you think you grew by the end of the year?
I think I got a lot better at leadership and being able to like harp on the guys and like be more of a vocal leader from the beginning to the end of the year. And something I, that's something I worked on a lot during the season.
And then as far as your team, where do you think your guys' biggest growth was together?
As a team, being more of like a brotherhood as a team. We kind of spent some more time at the end of the year just because we didn't want to fall short, and we wanted to be together as long as we could.
Of course, you prepare for this next season. We all know what the goals are for the next season is championship. You see what's going on outside of your control. How do you just keep your head forward and know that what you can control is that locker room, the players that are around you? How do you keep yourself and your teammates understanding that don't worry about what you can't change?
Yeah, we just use it as fuel. Like we'll go into the weight room and just like keep our head down and work as hard as we can just because like there's a lot of people like are putting us out just because other people are coming in. It's just like we're just gonna try to like use it as fuel and work as hard as we possibly can just to prove people wrong.
Of course, you see everything that's crazy going on, whether it is the college with a lot of people that you know that are going from school to another school to find their opportunity. You obviously see it now going at the high school realm with those 27 Husker recruits coming in town. What does that say for you for the game of football? And how do you keep yourself level with what your goal is and only your goal?
Wait, what do you mean again? Like what do you
So like what how do you keep yourself not to get trapped up in everything else that's going on around you? Obviously, we know
yeah.
that the 27 Huskers are going to go to Millard South. So you
Yeah.
got two things. You can worry about it or you can be, how do you keep yourself even kill and know what you have to worry about and only stay on what Braylen has to do?
Yeah, I don't really like going to like social media and like doing all that. I just kind of stay to myself and like with the people I trust around me. But I don't like to listen to all that. I don't let it affect me, and I just kind of keep my head down and keep pushing.
You of course got recruited and you've chosen Missouri. When you think of your recruitment process, what's some of the things that you wish you knew when you were a freshman and even with your dad going through it, I'm sure, he's trying to just do it as a dad and not as I did it myself. It's always a hard line for parents to walk when they've already experienced themselves. What do you wish you knew as a freshman that you know now?
Um, just that college is crazy. Like literally, there's always coaches moving around. Like there's still a lot of like Missouri coaches that are moving in different places and all that. So it's just now I'm really learning like to stay connected with coaches from other places and whatnot because things could change. Like um coaches could leave, and that's something I kind of experienced like with Coach Drinkwitz from the head coach from Missouri. He almost left, but he stayed thankfully. And that was like a big part of me that he was gonna stay, and that's kind of what made me commit because I like him a lot.
So then when people ask, how do you distinguish yourself or how have you distinguished yourself between committing to coaches and committing to the college? Is it hard to do with the fluidness of the college rankings?
Yeah, it is. It is pretty hard just because the coaches do move around a lot, and so just like I commit more to a coach than a college. Like I still love Missouri. Like my dad grew up there and everything. And like as a college too, I always liked them. But yeah, it's a lot with the coaches always moving around and everything. Um, yeah.
When you, of course, have people talking to you, you know that people have asked, why not Nebraska? What has been your experience that has kept you dedicated? Of course, you brought up a coach was a big thing, but it is creating your own atmosphere something that's very important for you and maybe something you and your dad has said, do what you want to do, son.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad, he was good with that. He was always like, it's your path. Like I'm gonna let you do it. I'm not gonna like influence you too much to do like something you don't want to do. And so like with Nebraska, even though we played at Nebraska, like he never like you have to go to like Nebraska or anything. Like even though they didn't really recruit me, they recruited me like my freshman, a little bit my sophomore year. Other than that, like he was just like go wherever you really wanted to. And then I'm gonna like give you my opinion, but it's your life. Like I'm gonna let you live it.
I think that's very key for some current and future athletes who are trying to make those decisions. Um, you made a great point of the effort for you didn't meet the effort that you were wanting from people. And I think sometimes it could get lost in the name that's coming at you. And of course, you've had multiple colleges come at you. What was it about Missouri and their coaches that really dialed you in to go that they're making sure that I know that I am who they want and I have an opportunity for a future here?
With Coach Drinkwitz, he's a offensive mind coach, and so like I like that a lot, like him being in the offense, and then Coach Gleason and Coach Moore, they both left, but the OC, like the old OC and quarterback coach, they were really big on me too. And now the new ones that came in, I talked to him quite a bit too. Like Chip Lindsey from Michigan, he has a really good record of developing quarterbacks, and so that was kind of like, even though Coach Moore left and I loved him, uh Coach Lindsey came in, and like I feel the same way about Missouri. Like it's nothing bad about him. But Missouri was like a big for me just because the community, the like where it was, it's not too far from home, and I have family in Missouri about like an hour and a half away, and I just thought it would be like a good fit for me, and like being able to see the coaches and having a connection with them.
I think those are some great points that, some people are afraid to say. You said you got family close enough, you're far enough from home, but you still have an opportunity where people can come and see you. When you think of your journey and your choice, was that key to it to stay in the Midwest because of those things, or was that something that just helped you when you came to the final decision?
I don't think it was key. It was more something that helped me, just because like I didn't really care like where I really ended up, if it was hot, cold, like west, east, like I didn't really care. But it's definitely a plus that it is close.
Of course, you look at your offers and you look at things, no college names or nothing. What's some things that some athletes have to understand when you do get these coaches and people reaching out to you that sometimes can get lost in some people call it clout, some people call it a desire. What was that like for you, and how did you distinguish what was a real feeling to want Braylen and one that was kind of not so much?
Yeah. I would say something that's big is a coach that's always like checking up on you, like by your side and everything, like just asking like how you are, and that like you can really tell. I feel like you can tell if someone's like genuine or all like phony, like just a big marketing guy, or like someone that actually like cares. And so that was big on visits, like just being able to go see like the community and kind of like the culture, if it was like kind of weird, or if it was like a good culture. So I think that's like a big thing, going on visits and like talking to coaches.
If you think of, of course, Missouri and the SEC, their whole game has changed compared to the Big 12, and they really rely on their wide receivers finding space against these SEC secondaries. How do you feel like that compares to what you have to deal with now in the offense? And how are those two offenses going to maybe relate a little bit for you so you feel at home when you do get to make that jump?
Um, I think my coaches helped me a lot with like kind of film work and all that. And so just like being able to develop that with like footwork and mechanics. I mean, it's kind of hard, that it's a big jump from, obviously it's a big jump from high school to SEC football. Like SEC, it's like one of the best that you can play, is the best that you can play at. And will get you like prepared more for the NFL. I thought that was good for me. It's because like just having an SEC on your resume would be a pretty legit thing.
When you made that decision, how did that conversation go with your parents, and how who was the first person to know for you? Was it the parents?
Yeah, it was my parents. It was just kind of like I called them. I was like, I think I'm ready. Like I feel at home. So
And
yeah,
when you
it was
did
good.
that, were you down there when you made the decision, or were you back up here?
I was back at home. I was actually in my mom's room, just like, yeah, mom, I'm ready. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. That's the way to have it. When you think of this past 3 years and how quick it went, and you think of your weight training, you think of your eating regimen, what's some things that you think that you were able to accomplish, and what's some things that you look to one change and continue to grow as you get into senior year and when you head down to Missouri?
Um, Something is just like always keep on grinding, like almost like no days off. Um, just like grinding all the time and doing as much as you possibly can, but also not like killing yourself with how much work you're doing. Just like grinding as much as you can to be the best version of yourself that you possibly can be.
You talked about leadership and you look at the locker room for your senior year. Who's some of the other guys that you're know will be right there with you to try to get this team where you need to? And also, how are you guys helping the kids who might not have the same ambitions of being a D1 athlete and helping them just be better athletes all around where they can understand that their role is different, but they're still part of that team?
Tate Jenkins is a big name. Adrian Gonzalez, Andrew Taggy. It's just a bunch of like guys that have been with Westside that are like seniors that um are gonna make impacts this year, I feel like. But with the guys that like kind of like almost know their role like as much, like not doesn't really want to play in like Division 1 football, is just like it's a big culture and like everybody treats themselves as like brotherhood. Um and so it's just like trying to build that chemistry to be like the best team we possibly can and be like the most like connected team we can.
If you think of the offense that you guys get to do, how does it compare to your 7-on-7? Is there some comparison in the receiver routes that you see or things that you like from your 7-on-7 that you might talk to coaches about? Or is it vice versa where you really like what you see in your high school career that you want to take to the 7-on-7? How are you kind of intermixing those so then when you go to learn Missouri, you know that you're going to have that wide variety that you're going to be able to take in?
Yeah, with the system that we kind of did last year was more of like a RPO system, like take some shots too. And like this year we're getting like a new coach, new offensive coordinator, and like changing the playbook. But I think I really looked at like what we did on 7-on-7 and kind of like asked coaches like would it work in like tackle and 11-on-11. So I kind of try to like bring down some concepts and whatnot. Yeah.
You said you're getting a new coach. What's kind of your thoughts on that, and how will this help you prepare for everything that you're dreaming of? Because, like you said, coaches come, coaches go. They got to do the best decision for themselves, just as you're going to make the best decision for yourself.
Yeah,
What's
I
one
really
thing
like.
that, oops, sorry. I was just gonna say, what's one thing that you really maybe be in the unknown about what could happen, and what do you feel strong about this offensive coordinator coming in?
With the new offense coordinator coming in, I know he likes to throw the deep ball and like likes to pass the ball a lot, and so that's something like I always like that. Um, and so I'm pretty excited to see like the new playbook and everything. But yeah.
What's one thing that might worry you? What's one thing? Is there anything that worries you about the change of a big position like that for yourself?
Not really, just because he was on the staff like before, so like I was able to work with him a lot, and I kind of really know what he does and doesn't do. So nothing really worries me about him coming in.
What should uh what should Nebraska be looking for this coming up year? The high school sports. What should they be looking for from Braylen? What's the biggest thing that you're gonna impact in your senior year besides
Um,
leadership?
I think something that's gonna be like a big impact is just like looking elite out there, like just being able to make those reads and throws like that, and just kind of like being the guy that is everybody like turns to as a team player.
Now, of course, every team has to come up with their motto. What was the motto this last year that your team was rocking with, and what do you think you have some ideas for this upcoming year? You got to have something that has to get you back to that championship game.
Our motto last year was probably like chemistry or just like being able to like get it done. And this year it's almost like the same, just like we fell short last year, so it's just like almost like finish strong or something like that. And really like be aggressive. Like our big thing this year's going out and like hitting someone, like being aggressive and everything. But yeah, like chemistry is also a big one because we do have some guys coming in, but a lot of guys are staying.
Of course, outside of the game, you have to have something that keeps you where when things aren't going right in the game, you're able to break yourself away to help reset yourself. What's the one go-to for Braylen to keep him back into not getting the burnt out feeling?
What do you mean? Like, what's
Like,
something
is
that?
there anything what do? You go gaming, you go fishing, you go hooping?
Oh,
What's something that gets you away from just you said you grind, which is very important, but you have to also have those
like a
reset moments.
like a
You have to have
hobby.
those things, something to just take the monotony away where you get, not so caught up.
Yeah, I like to game a lot, and I like to just hang out with my friends, just like on the weekends and play a little bit of pickup, like I said earlier. But yeah, those are some pretty good things. Just like kind of clearing my head out of like all the noise and whatnot. But yeah, just gaming, playing with friends, and playing some sports.
When you look at your 7-on-7 career, as I'm guessing this is your last season for doing that, I'm guessing next year, are you looking to go in the spring to Missouri to get going, or are you gonna go and graduate in May from high school?
Yeah, I'll graduate early and go down.
So when you look at that opportunity, what's the biggest thing that you're going to take from this last 7-on-7? Of course, you see yourself playing against some top defenders and having some great wide receivers. What's some of the experience that maybe people don't take for, they take for granted from this experience that you get to do against some of the best out there?
Just kind of like being with friends and being able to like as a quarterback, just like being at tournaments, like seeing a bunch of different players, like good like high level athlete players. Just being able to like meet them, build relationships and all that. But also just like competing against them, like recognize different coverages and all that. As a quarterback.
Of course, you said your schedule is nothing but packed full. When you look at your schedule, what do people need to realize when it comes to someone who wants to be a D1 athlete? What a weekly schedule could look like that is beyond someone telling you you have to do it. You just know it because you're so goal driven.
Yeah. So like and then for Westside, we work out in the morning. So like we'll work out like 7:30 and we have like class that so we'll end at like around like 9. And then like on my own, I go to like the facility, my dad's facility, get some like quarterback training in because I get out of school like fairly early around like 1 or whatnot. Just with how my schedule works. So I'll go to the facility like around 3:30 and I'll stay there to like 7, just working out and like having practice and then having speed work, just like something that like you kind of know in the back of your head, like you have to do. Like if you, it's kind of like if you take a day off, like it feels weird because like you feel like you should be working because you know what your goal is.
Of course, and you know the competition that you're going against isn't taking that day off either. You always feel
Yeah.
like you're losing a step. What is the number one goal for you this next year besides a championship for your team? What do you have a goal for yourself?
Really just like becoming the best version of myself I possibly can like being like a team player, like getting building like relationships with other people that have came in, and also like just grades is a big part for me too. Just like being able to stay on top of my grades and schoolwork, and just again being the best version of myself I can be.
You walk across stage next December. What's Braylen gonna be remembered as a West Side Warrior?
I would say a leader, just like being someone that will always be there for their teammates, and will be like pushing their teammates and kind of like a leader.
How are you taking in the last couple school dances, the last couple school get-togethers? What is Braylen doing for those type of activities? You making sure to soak it in, or are you just letting them go through the last couple years here?
I actually I don't like school dances and all that. Like my first ever time was probably this year. Was this year. So like I'm just kind of like letting them go. I don't really like them being out like that.
It's different, right? Like it's and a lot of people are like, come on, man, everybody's there, but it's everybody's fun is different. And
Yeah.
when the atmosphere just doesn't feel like it's fun, why would you want to take time away from what
Exactly.
you love doing? Coming up, you guys got some games that you guys are doing with the 7-on-7. Where are you looking to go coming up, and what's kind of the goal of the team this year? What's some things that you guys get to go do? Is there a big championship? Where does this all go for you guys?
Yeah, last year we were like third in the nation at one point as a team, and we won every tournament but like one. So like this year's could kind of be like the same as last year, even though like almost everyone's gone. It's just like, but I know we have people like coming in that will step up and just it'll be fun. Like we'll go to Omaha. We'll be in Omaha this weekend. A lot of like we'll go to Oklahoma, Kansas, and I might go to Vegas for like to play with like a national team. Um, but yeah.
When you look at all the athletes that you do get to play with that aren't from Westside, who's some of them that really show what it's like during these 7-on-7 that you're like, God, man, if they were on my team, with all respect, right? Like, it's not like you're out there recruiting, but
Yeah.
good talent is good talent. Who's some of the ones that between last year and this year that you really have kind of grown with and give you that opportunity of trust? Because if people don't understand, he's playing with athletes across Omaha. It's not just West Side guys, and the trust has to be there, whether it is West Side or whether it is the 7-on-7.
Um, More of like last year, just because I haven't really like played with people this year as much. Because they were like more of they were a younger age. But like last year, it was more like Alex Uckman from like Elkhorn North. Like he was like a killer for 7-on-7. He's like really fast. Like Elon Washington from Papio South. Like I got a good connection with him, and people like Dayton and Dallas and Amarion Jackson. Like those, I built like really good relationships. Like kind of like growing up with them too. I always grew up like with the older age. Um, but yeah, just like seeing Elon and Alex kind of do their thing now. It's just like I always feel good for them because I know like we played with each other and like we always felt like a brotherhood too.
Yeah, it was great. We got to share Alex's story and see that he's going up to South Dakota State, and hopefully, any word on Elon? Hopefully, he catches something. I know he's
I
got
think he
some
just committed
irons
to
in
like
the fire.
Morningside.
Oh, did he? Oh,
Yeah, like
yes.
yesterday.
He's one of my faves to watch. You brought up one thing that was there of gosh, what was oh man. Hold on one sec. You brought up something about playing with some of the best and seeing some of the best and seeing them grow. When you look across the board and you see just the growth of playing up, how important was that for you? And how do you think players who are looking to get to the highest level should really think about that opportunity if they have it, like yourself did?
Wait, like so, like what?
And playing older, you said you always played up. You always
Yeah.
played up with the older guys. How important was that for you?
Like I grew up with like Amarion and Bryson, like they would always come over to like my house and everything. And so like just kind of like seeing them go both to, like Penn State. It's like just a happy feeling for them. Like I grew up with them. We always worked hard. Like we'd always go out and train and all that. And so like seeing them in 7-on-7 and everything, they really like do feel like brothers. And seeing them go to like Penn State, it's just like a happy feeling. And I feel like like blessed to have them as like one of my best friends.
Do you feel like playing up as a quarterback was more challenging or something that helped you catch on to the speed quicker?
Yeah, it's definitely more challenging, but I thought it helped me a lot more. Just like because being like growing up, you don't really like grow as fast as other people do. And so just kind of like, but your mind still grows at that same speed, even though your like body does not.
You, of course, have your senior season. You, of course, are preparing for Missouri. What should Missouri fans know about Braylen and who they're getting when you head down there?
That he's like a hard worker and will like lead your team to like as much success as they can.
What do you think is going to be the biggest change for yourself when you do leave high school to go to college? What do you think is something that you might have to lock in, or is there anything that you might not even think about now that you're like, man, I'm going to have to change this? Is there anything that you're thinking of when you make that next step?
I haven't really thought about it as much as I should probably. More probably like my sleep schedule. Like I'm not very good on
Ooh.
that. And so like that's a big thing. Like sometimes I'll like be on my phone and go to bed late and that it means a lot like with body recovery and everything. So that's probably a big thing.
When you think of that part right there, where's some guidance you can find for that? Because everybody, I mean, especially for what I do, man, I have my phone in my hand all the time. And then if you have your phone in your hand, 90% of the time you could stay up later because you're locked into whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think is some things that you might have to incorporate for you to get that out of your hand? Whether it's a shut off time, whether it's maybe a book, something to get you away. What do you think is some things that you're going to be able to partake in or help yourself with that?
Probably just like putting on screen time with my phone and just like kind of being like Braylen, you gotta put your phone down. Like you gotta go to bed. And so yeah.
Of course, this last year you have so much riding, so much going. What's the thing that you feel like you're gonna take in this last year for
Um
yourself and live in the moment?
yeah, really just living in the moment, like not really regretting anything that I do and everything, just kind of like live in the moment and process everything, just kind of like take it all in.
When you go to college, what you got to have some kind of education that you're looking to accomplish. Have you thought about that part of college of what degree you might look for? Things that might also inspire you outside of football? Is there anything that inspires Braylon?
Um, I'll probably just do like business. Not in like any particular reason, just like I know a lot of people do it and everything. So like I probably just take business and kind of like after like my dad retires and all that, like I might take over like Warren Academy and all that, just like kind of knowing how to like the ropes of what to do.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first. He's gonna be the one that wants to take it over, and that's obviously a great thing. Hopefully, after many years of however high you take yourself when it comes to that. When you think of the Warren Academy and you think of that type of extra, how important do you think across the board of all the athletes you guys have seen in there, how important is having a brotherhood like that been to the Omaha, Nebraska area in order to see all of these athletes? And of course, there's other ones out there, don't get me wrong, but all these athletes get that opportunity that they've worked for, right? You don't go to Warren Academy not to work.
Uh,
What what
yeah,
is what is that like for you to know that, you're a part of it, you're seeing it, you know that, it's something that is there that has changed the history of Omaha.
yeah. I would say like with my dad, like he'll never like really give up on a kid. He'll always like want the best for the kid. Just like even if it's like talking to coaches or like telling them that like they need to get in more and like they need to work on certain things. Just like my dad's really kind of like showed me like what it means to be like a mentor or like a coach.
What I love that you said there is the honesty. Some of these programs that are out there that are trying to help your athlete, they're sometimes not always giving you everything that they have. But if a coach can offer that feedback of, hey, you want to get here, this is what you have to do. Now, you guys got to listen. Don't get me wrong. The athlete has to listen, but the coaches are given that and then some. And when you look at your fellow coaches, what do you think between Jones and your quarterback coach? What do you think are the two things that you've learned from each of them that has helped you become the quarterback that you want to be today?
Like they'll always give it to you straight. Like they'll tell you if they think that you're not doing the best at something, like they'll always tell you like what you need to work on. Like my coach John Takelin, he'll tell me his opinion on everything like 99% of the time. Like he'll always be straightforward to me. Um and just also like be that mentor for me.
Well, Braylen, you got a bright future ahead of you. You've, of course, laid it all out there of what it takes to be you and do what you do. I appreciate your time, but I also appreciate your story, and good luck next year with everything that's going on. Of course, a lot of craziness. How are you yourself, and what is the recommendation that you try to help others when it does come to social media? We'll get you out of here on that. And where did that all come for you? How you can control that? Because I think some people can look at the numbers more than they are looking at the message. Others are looking at the message, but not who it's from, that whether it's worth a dang or whether it's just stay in your lane and know what you got to do.
Yeah, I would say just like always like stay focused and always keep working hard and like listen to the people that you trust. And yeah, just always stay focused, working hard and listen.
Well, thank you again, and good luck this next year to Westside. And we appreciate all you guys tuning in and making sure to share Braylen's story. Of course, you can find this series on characterchronicles.com. Thanks to Adam Carricker and his team out there for believing in the Nebraska athletes as well. And then, of course, our StreamYards brought to you by the Omaha Beef. Their season starts here on March 7th. Don't be afraid to come down to the Ralston Arena or Liberty Federal Credit Union, or as the Omaha Beef call it, Slaughterhouse, as they start their 27th season as indoor football, and they've been in the past 5 championships with winning 3 of them. Don't be afraid. There are teams that do win in Nebraska. Just because they don't have the name Nebraska in the name, don't think they can't win. But once again, we appreciate you here on Wired Access, All Access Granted. Until next time, we'll see ya.
The standard is the standard. We set the standard.